Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a special edition. It's not Life of Pi, it is not Hamlet, it is not poetry, but it is a video about English paper 3. So many of you will be writing paper 3, and I just want to explain a few things to you. So the first thing that you need to understand, that paper 3 is an absolutely important paper. The paper consists of 100 marks. It consists of 2 sections, and I'm referring here to home language. You have your section A, that will be the creative writing, and then you have section B, that will be your transactional. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the instructions and I'll give you some advice. It is a 3-hour paper, grade 12s. So what you do, you need to have 3 writing pieces, 3 hours, 1 essay and 2 transactional. Okay, 1 essay plus your 2 transactional will give you 3 for 3 hours. So if you have 2 writing pieces, you know that you have a problem. If you have only 1 essay, you know only 1 writing piece, you know you have a problem. 3. Okay, so let me explain. So remember, it's a 3-hour paper, and by the way, there is a reason why we give you 3 hours, because we want you to use the time. We want you to use the time. Okay, I find it absolutely shocking to see learners finishing within an hour, a 3-hour paper. And I ask myself, what did you write? So please use your time. Okay, now I'm going to read and then I'm going to explain. So this will be the instruction, this will be part of the question paper as well. So this question paper consists of 2 sections. Section A will be the essay, 50 marks. Let me explain that. You will be given an essay question. So for example, 1.1 will be a written topic, 1.2 written topic, 1.3 written topic, 1.4 written topic, 1.5 written topic. Then 1.6, 1.7 and 1.8 will be visual topics. Grade 12s, you do only 1. Okay, so 1.1 to 1.5, they will give you a topic. You select only 1. 1.6, 1.7 and 1.8 will be visual topics. So for example, if you do a topic on an image, you don't do the topic on the words. In other words, you don't do a written topic. So I have a topic here. My stumbling blocks became my stepping stone. My stumbling blocks became my stepping stone. If you're going to select that topic, then obviously you don't do any other essay topic. Is that clear? And I hope it's clear. If you're going to write 2 essays, you're going to waste time, you're going to lose marks. Okay, only 1 essay. 400 to 450 words. 400 to 450 words. Please indicate your word count at the end. I'm referring here to the second chance learners, the adult learners. Many of you might be writing for the first time, so they will give, I'm referring to you in particular. You do only 1 topic. Okay, you select your topic. Now, advice. Select a topic that speaks to you. Select a topic that speaks to you as a person, because you need to write between 400 and 450 words. If you are going to select a topic that you are unable to relate with, you are going to find it difficult to write. You are going to be like, what do I write next? and that's going to be problematic. So I want you to choose a topic that you have knowledge about, okay? And ideally, you know, if you are an adult learner, you write a narrative essay. In other words, you tell a story. You write a narrative essay in the first person and you tell a story about an experience. What the adult learners have, and I make this point all the time, is that you have life experience and you need to use your experience to your advantage during this question paper. So select a topic that you can relate with, then 404 to 450 words, and you write your essay. Here we go. How do you write your essay? Grade 12s, you must have a clear structure. In other words, you must have paragraphs. We don't want to see long paragraphs with long, we don't want to see that. You must have clear paragraphs, okay? In other words, you must have an introduction, you must have bodies, and you must have a conclusion. You must conclude. Intro, body, conclusion. There's not a rule, but I advise my kids to write 6 paragraphs in total. So 4 bodies. So you have your intro, 4 bodies, and then you conclude as well. Do not write long paragraphs. Please don't do that. Your writing will become convoluted, confusing, complicated. Also, if you're an adult learner, right, do not write long sentences. And that's a problem with a narrative essay. You go on and on and on and on. If you're an adult learner, right, and you know that you might be struggling with English, keep your sentences short. 1 or 2 ideas per sentence, that's fine. Even if you say something like this: today, I am feeling very hopeful and optimistic about my future. Full stop. I am taking my life into my own hands and I am going to make an impact in the world. Full stop. It is important that we invest in ourselves to better our future. Full stop. Something like that. But the problem is these long sentences. You have a comma all the time. That will influence your language mark. Okay, so there is a rubric. There's a mark for content, there's a mark for language, and there's a mark for structure. The essay is out of 50, so the content is out of 30. That's what you write, content. The language out of 15. That's how you write. And then you have structure out of 5. That will be whether you have paragraphs, etc. Okay, so please, paragraphs, 6, ideally 6. Do not write long sentences. You must have an introduction, bodies, and you will have to conclude as well. And you do only 1 topic, but you will be given 8 topics, 5 written topics and 3 visual topics. 400 to 450 words. Okay. Oh, wait, let me read this and then I will explain. Then section B, when you're done with that, you will have to do 2 transactional ticks. Okay, so here you will have to decide. They will give you many options, right? So let me just check what I have here. So in this paper we have a formal speech, a magazine article, an email, dialogue, letter to the press, a formal report. So you will have maybe a formal report, a formal speech, emails is very common nowadays, magazine article, letter to the press, dialogue. Sometimes the obituary will be there as well. So I'm not going to give you advice on what to do, but you need to do two. Okay, so if you do an email, then you will have to do another one. So for example, let's say you do an email and a dialogue, that's fine. So you will have an essay, email, and a dialogue, 3 pieces for 3 hours, no problem. Okay. However, you need to be familiar with the structure. So there is a document. All you do is you type in, you go on Google and you type in WAZA, WAZA, paper 3. WAZA, WAZA, paper 3 English. It will give you a document and you can peruse that document. Okay, so let me continue. So it says here, answer 1 question in section A and 2 questions in section B. You know that. Write in the language in which you will be assessed. Obviously, that's English. Start new section on a new page. That is important. When you do your essay, you write your essay there. Okay, and when you're done, you turn over and you start your transactional. We don't want the essay and then you have like a space and then you start your dialogue there or you start your email. The reason why we don't want that is because your question paper will be marked by different markers. So you have a marker for essays, you have a marker for the transactional, okay? And to make things easier, we want obviously to start on a new page, okay? No problem. Then you must plan. You must plan. In other words, you must have a mind map or a diagram or a flow chart or keywords for your essay and for the two transactional. You must plan. You must have a mind map. Then all planning must be clearly indicated. A rough draft is not compulsory, by the way. It is not needed. You can write a final draft. That's it. If you do write a rough draft, then you need to scratch out the rough draft and do your final. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. The marker might presume that is your final. So if you do your a rough draft, you scratch it out with a pen or a pencil, and then you indicate the final draft, and that's it. Obviously, if you do a rough draft and you do a final draft, it can't be the same, right? There must be an improvement. So you do the rough draft and then you edit, and then in a final draft, you will have a polished version of your work. Okay, then number the answers accordingly. In other words, if you have 1.1, please 1.1, 1.1 topic. Sometimes you see 1.1, but then the topic is from 1.3. Then you like, hey bo. Okay, the title heading must not be included in when doing the word count. Write neat. Now, this is what I want to say. When you do your essay, and let's say you doing a topic about a pen, there must be a clear link between what you write and the topic. So if the topic is about my stumbling blocks became my stepping stone, the essay that you're going to write must have a clear link. There must be a link between the two. If you're doing an image, this is even more important. If you're doing an image, there must be a link between the essay and the image. So please understand that. Sometimes you have a topic and you have an essay and you have no correlation. There's no link, and you ask yourself, what do you see that I am not seeing? So there must be a clear link between the two. Please keep that in mind. And you must understand the topic. So for example, one year we had something like when 2 elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. When two elephants fight, the grass suffers. So if you're going to write about elephants and about grass, you gone. You gone. Because the topic is symbolic. It's, in other words, when two parents fight, children will suffer. Or when two communities fight, the people will suffer. Something like that. So just be 100% certain you understand the question as well. Okay? So paper 3 is an absolutely important paper. 100 marks, 3 hours, 3 writing pieces, 1 essay, 2 transactional. And for your essay, you must have paragraphs. Do not write long sentences. And more importantly, do not write contractions. Don't wanna, gonna, sonna, wanna, ain't. You don't write like that. And if you can, you should please use adjectives. Adjectives, that's the spice of the language. Adjectives and adverbs, absolutely important. Okay? He is incredibly kind to me. I am elated and optimistic about my future. He is vivacious in his explanation. You need to provide adjectives and adverbs to give your essay spice. Otherwise, it is dry. Okay? Writing is fun. Enjoy. Tell your story. Be creative. Tell your story. Be the protagonist of your own story. Do your 2 transactional texts. And I wish you all of the best. Okay? Cheers. That's paper 3.